Vedas talk about Sharad Ritu, Jivema Sharada Shatam. So the year, the new year used to comment in Rigvedic era from the autumnal equinox. Jivema, more than 100 references in entire Vedic, post-Vedic literature. Sharad Ritu used to be the beginning of the new year during the Rigvedic era. Then you find out the autumnal equinox occurring at Ashwini. It goes back to 13,500 BC. That was the where we have Vedic Vedanga Jyotisha Yuga calendar begin, that one. Then the Siddhantic astronomy starts from the 778. This is our calendrical continuity. 7.36 days for the moon. And then it comes to the Mayasura. He said that no, we should not follow this 5-year based yuga and having the intercalation. Let us go back to he introduced the Jovian cycle of 12 years. This is our Kumbh Mela of 12 years, and we all intercalation based on 12 years started from Siddhanta Jyotisha. This is how, based on the calendrical and the continuity and the archaeoastronomical study. I am not going into those details how the yuga cycles have been enlarged, because after the introduction of Siddhanta Jyotisha, the rishis needed a longer yuga.
यह बात सोचने योग्य है कि सप्त सिंधु भारतवर्ष से बड़े पैमाने पर जब पलायन हुआ, उसी के कारण विभिन्न सभ्यताओं का विकास हुआ. When our ancestors first became fully human, they were already migratory, moving about in pursuit of the big game. So, हमारे अगले माननीय वक्ता जो हैं डॉक्टर तिलक रंजन बेरा, वे इसी विषय migration and river
that period, and we traveled with our language and culture. Anything? Can you hear me? Now, what happened? That is the onward migration part, and at a later date, they returned for various reasons. Initially by land route, and then by sea route. This I am referring in my book as the reverse migration of the Indian origin fraternities. And this Indo-Aryan concept of Indo-Aryan migration is only a part of this reverse migration. Now we have to consider from a much earlier period who came from, we are anatomical modern human or Homo sapien. We have to go back where from we came. This anatomical modern human migrated from Africa several times, but the last time when they came out of Africa is known as out of Africa, which took place roughly 65,000 years ago. And they traveled along the coastal region, and this is known as Great Coastal Migration. They passed through India, and eventually they managed to reach almost to Australia. Now, India served as the intermediate host. When they came here, they continuously lived in India. So we have to take all these ground evidences into consideration. There are evidences to establish that India continuously, this anatomical model. Now, that is my subject. You have to consider the ground evidences, what we have. We need not blindly follow what the Westerners think about India. Now, these are the concepts that the rising and lowering of seawater level during glacial and interglacial period and formation of the land bridge to the Andaman Archipelago. Then comes the question that formation of the Bengal glacial coastal shelf, then submersion of Bengal glacial coastal shelf displacing the fraternities settled there. Significance of animal symbols. We see animals back the construct like Kailash temple of Ellora and all the Indian temples, they have a special skill of stone cutting and transporting of huge stone blocks are required for constructing those temples. We had the skill of terracotta. We had the skill of animal symbol. We have seen that various deities are given different complexion. Our deities still have this different complexion. We are following that. And finally, reverse migration. I have mentioned that we are missing one particular thing, that is Ganga Ridhi. If you click in your mobile, you will.
The words that they use, the forest that is shown, the movie is about South Coastal Kannada. So not even the entire Kannada, coastal Dakshin Kannada, but the district, if you see the map of the modern district Dakshin Kannada, it's a very small district, but most of Udupi and a little of Kurg also comes in what is called as Dakshin Kannada. So the culture is there. the geography is there. And the way they speak is also there. This is something that I read extremely late in Adi Shankar. But I have heard about this metaphor 100 times from villagers who are completely what we would call them illiterate or uneducated, who did not have the benefit of university education. So this thought, this culture percolates everywhere because there was the Vedic age, there were the Vedas. Of course, it's a very technical thing to do, to perform a Vedic yajna. So of course, only a certain class was community was allowed to do that because they were trained in that. But the benefit of that yajna would be bestowed upon everyone, no matter which community would be. But then, when another era comes, when the need is felt that everyone should have some direct contact with divinity, then a series of attempts are made to take the knowledge of Vedas to everywhere. For example, Natya Shastra, it declares, it is its declared goal in very second or third shloka, I guess. They say that the Natya Shastra is created to take the knowledge of the Vedas to people and communities which were hitherto not being able to partake the knowledge of the Vedas. So here is Natya Shastra, it is also called as Pancham Ved. Now this very idea of Pancham Ved is where the Margi and Desi come together because it is a fluid idea. There is no one.
They are called a glimpse of Vedas, using which we'll try to understand what Vedas is, even though it is not so one is a Siksha, then one is Kalpam, Vyakarana, Niruktam, Chandas and Jyotisha. Siksha basically talks about the annotation, how to pronounce, how to take the breaks and things like that, and movements of hands in few Vedas. Then Kalpam talks about how to perform a ritual, and Vyakarana talks about the grammar, and Niruktam talks about the etymology of the words, and the Chandas talk about the meters. How many swaras should be there in one particular chandas, and Jyotisha talks about the astronomy to set a auspicious time for performing. All our units are based on that particular cycle, like a minute, hour, a day, month, year, and everything is based on that particular cycle. And gravity. We all know Newton and his apple, and he has less deeper into it. The space-time fabric is constantly changing due to the continuous motion of the matter, energy in the universe. And